Hi guys, and welcome to Hell's Rebels. Um, our GM has stepped out for a moment, and so we're going to talk a little bit about who we are as characters. Since we haven't really done that since the first episode, have we?
No, I think we stopped. Yeah.
Although now we get to hear what everyone else's perception of their own character is and how that matches up with our perception of
Yeah,
them.
that's actually a good point. Yo, Rakax, you want to go first?
Yeah. So my character is a Leonin, is a homebrew cat race, and he is 8 feet tall and wields a halberd.
Is that literally? You don't want to talk about like your relationship with
All
the
right.
the Countess?
But so he was at the start of the campaign, we were all imprisoned. I was in prison for for being for being mistaken for a prisoner or for a slave rather, because in the region that we're in right now, Kintargo, 3/4 of Leonin, the population, they are all enslaved, and so I was thrown into jail for being a quote unquote runaway slave. Currently, I have joined the rebellion because I've been kicked out of my, I guess, sponsor, or
Employer, maybe?
I don't know if they're employed. They're kind of just like maybe, I guess. I haven't really fleshed that out.
Your patron?
Yeah,
Patron's a
basically,
good
yeah.
word.
Yeah,
Basically,
that's
my patron. Like they take care of me, except when I got in prison, they kicked me out because it looked bad on the family, the Reynolds family, actually, to be specific. So now I am on this quest to basically bring down the big bad.
yeah.
Join this patron.
Uh, um, I've got a segue. So, House Reynolds is one of the noble houses in the city of Kintargo, and my character, Beauregard Jaltero, is a member of a different noble house, House Jaltero, secretly a member of House Shadowvale. He has multiple identities. He's terrible at combat, but he's mostly his. He was thrown in jail for on some trumped up charge in an attempt to take power away from some of the noble houses in the city. He escaped, and as a result of him having been imprisoned, House Sheltero has also chosen not to associate with him.
Okay, I'm good to go. We can
Yeah,
start the stream whenever everybody's ready.
we've been going.
Oh, sounds good. Okay, well, I'm actually here.
Wait,
because-
hold on. We've been doing character intros because while we were waiting for you to get back.
That
So-
was a really smart thing. Well, it's your fault for. Shut up. Anyway,
Well, if you. Do you mind if we finish?
I do not mind. Please
Yeah.
feel free to finish.
So I'll hurry up a little bit. Beauregard is a noble. He's a master of disguise using the investigator class rules. He has several different personalities. He's ineffective in combat, and he is trying to bring glory back to House Jaltaro in the city, and also further his own ends, which is a basic lust for power. He's a slimy politician, etc., etc. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. I play Alaric, formerly of the Shattered Hall. A little bit of homebrew backstory. There's a noble house in Kionin, which is where the elves are from. That is, instead of being hereditary, is basically entirely based off of legal adoption, and so they they recruit from they are basically an academy, a military and arcane academy, and they recruit from within. They recruit the best people to become part of the noble house. And Alaric is a relatively young elf as far as elves go, so like 85 give or take, and he's just sort of starting his way up the ranks in the Shattered Hall when he is dispatched over to Kintargo, which is the city we're in, to spy on the evil doings there, Fortunately, this doesn't go well, and he gets captured and thrown in prison, which is extremely unfortunate for him because he really doesn't get along well with non-elves. Although over the course of the campaign, gotten slightly more used to the icky people around him.
Right.
Oh, and he's an arcanist, an arcane spellcaster, focuses on evocation because he's very pragmatic when it comes to matters of life and death.
We're in Amerigrug. You want to go next?
Fascinating. So my character is Weirin. He is a hunter. Unlike most of these characters who are like somehow involved in the noble houses, my character was from like the Outlands, like in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, where he's like part of a nomadic group. But there's a lot of political goings on with like beastman raids and stuff, and got into a quarrel with one of the important political people up there, and was then thrown into jail and transported to a city and thrown in jail. And that's how he met up with everyone else. He's like a hunter. He has like pet animals that help him and stuff like that, and is a relatively like free type of person that's not super into like organized structure, but somehow is involved in a rebellion for a city, mainly due to the fact that they're trapped in a city and lots of things happen.
Also, at this point, the rebellion are also fighting the Beastmen, I guess.
It
Also,
is
have
true.
we mentioned that this is like homebrewed to shit?
Yeah, I put
Yeah.
it in the panels
Okay, good.
that everything's.
I want everyone to know this is way out there. There is not a smidge of what we're gonna do today in any of those books. But anyways, Merrick Rook, the last one that needs to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Mango, what is this Twitch channel?
Some derps play games.
Okay,
Only
I was
been
just
streaming
curious.
on it for like 3 months.
Yeah,
No,
God.
I don't. I never knew what it was
You
titled because I don't
loser.
watch our own Twitch.
Anyway, Amerigrug.
Yeah, so I play Marigrug, an orc from a neighboring country called Nadal. I escaped my tribe, and I found my way after being a slave for a brief period of time in the city. The character's a blood rager with some homebrew attached to that. A lot of homebrew, actually.
Some awesome homebrew.
Yes, awesome homebrew. Used to be just a broadsword wielding guy, and now I'm a shirtless barbarian that rips people apart. But fun times. Character just found out that his best friend is super dead, so going real character progression in this game, guys. It's great.
Yeah, we're at a pretty good clip for character progression. Okay, so just to set the stage a little bit, you guys have been running your rebellion for a while now. Keeping it under wraps, right? The focus is on secrecy, is on making sure you don't get uncovered by Barzillai Thrun or any of his goons, right? Clearly, he is a huge danger to, to rebel organizations, and he's really good at, wrecking their shit. So you guys have kept a low profile. But in the recent weeks, it has popped up that there is another rebel organization that has started siphoning off your members. It's making it harder for you guys to recruit followers, and you're losing followers at a quicker pace because these guys exist. It's pretty clear. Unless you do something about it now, you're just going to be bled dry. And you won't have much of a rebellion to boast about at all. So, resolving that is your task overall. But in order to get there, we find ourselves back in the Tooth and Nail, your temporary headquarters as you have relocated from the Long Roads Coffee House in the cramped basement. Right, it's dripping because you're near the coast and under the water line and everything like that. Sometimes the floor is just damp and it's like you're walking around in a puddle, which makes it even almost impossible to sleep unless you have one of the coveted, more raised beds and mattresses. Taylor,
Or you can
the
spell
treasurer.
the water.
Yeah, well, whatever. Taylor, the treasurer of the Silver Ravens, comes to you guys after you have finished. So the thing we did last session, right, is you got all of the information you need in order to put together where this serial killer is, in order to stop him from enacting a crazy ritual that's going to unleash a deadly plague across the city, right? But everybody needs to sleep. You guys head back. And as you wake up the next morning, Taylor says, I really need to talk to you guys about something because we have a visitor.
What manner of visitor
Ooh.
might that be?
Who we got?
A visitor, someone who has been bankrolling this organization for some time.
Oh, no.
Shadowfails.
She kind of shrugs and says, listen, I warned you about this, but I don't know that it's going to be pretty. And then she leads you into the next room where Aluria Shadowveil is waiting. You can see that she has placed she's kind of like toppled a small book of yours. Maybe it's a ledger that Taylor uses to like keep down accounting figures so that she doesn't have to get her feet wet in the waters of the basement. She looks a little pissed.
That's pretty rude.
Hello, Miss Shadowveil. What can I do for you this evening?
Greetings. I was hoping that we could follow up on the discussion that we had a few weeks ago about the problems with my shipping and the coming captain to the city.
Yes, we've had some other matters to attend to, unfortunately, and it's about to be our main focus of attention, but there's just been some other pressing matters that unfortunately had to take precedent over the shipping matter.
I see. Well, I understand. And I understand that you have the priorities that you do have, and I am not necessarily the top of those priorities. This has been dutifully communicated. But I will remind you, Captain Vasquez has been in the city for a week now. He has reached out to the Shadowveil family. The current offer, which I am planning to accept unless you tell me otherwise right now, the current offer is if I pledge the official support of the Shadowveil family to Barzillai Thrun and his rule of Kintargo, we will... he will protect the ships I have coming in and out of Kintargo Harbor. Obviously, for you, this would mean that I would no longer be able to fund this rebellion because the money moving in and out of my books, which is tight enough already, will be under further scrutiny by Thrun and his agents. I would like to reassure you, however, that no matter what you say to me here and now, your secret is obviously safe with me. I don't think it would do either of us much good if we were to inform on the other.
The sentiment is understood. What you said? Unless we tell you otherwise, what does otherwise entail?
I need a commitment right now that whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to fix this problem for me. And I need results immediately. I cannot afford to wait. I'm sorry, I cannot afford to wait. This offer is too good for me to take if you're not willing to help.
I have two thoughts on the matter. Number one, madam, I know that it is obviously this is a difficult decision for you, given your past experiences with the erstwhile Silver Ravens, and I know how much this drains, how much this occupation, this rule drains on your conscience, and maybe we can come to some sort of consensus as to how we can maybe solve for you. What is Asvernathi doing at the moment?
Asvernathi Raoul?
Well, our hunter killer dude, which I thought was him.
Hunter killer. Asvernathi Raoul was the cleric from the first book, who was running the.
No. The guy that we sent after the party in the college.
Ariandis.
Ariandis Sheltaro.
Ariandis Jaltero.
Yeah, I believe you speak of my esteemed cousin Ariandis.
Yes, apologies, slip of the tongue. You all have such interesting names.
So sorry, what is the point that you're making with Ariandis?
He could maybe be tasked to wreak some havoc amongst the pirates / impromptu navy.
So first of all, Ariandis is a she. She being Illyria, says, I'm not incredibly familiar with the skills and abilities of the different agents that you've recruited. What benefits does Ariandis Jaltero have for me?
Most notably, Ariandis is a skilled problem solver, shall we put it, especially in more martial matters. The issue, as I understand it, is that that your ships are being harassed, and potentially we could put it into these quasi-legal pirates' minds that maybe they have other more pressing matters to deal with than with your shipments.
Can we send Ariandis after Vasquez?
One option. I didn't want to necessarily.
Yes, though I will say, well, Vasquez has a very good reputation when it comes to combat.
I see.
So
does Ariandis.
By the way, and this isn't from an out of character perspective. This information would have come to you from obviously Taylor, Ralph, Mateo. They've all they all obviously know how good Cassius is. Cassius isn't isn't like Nox, right? He's like Barzillai Thrune, right? Like he is a guy that will fuck your shit up. If you want to get rid of him, you're gonna have to think outside the box, because just kind of like storming his ship is just like a one-way ticket to getting yourselves killed. Is the wisdom and the caution that is given to you by your advisors.
Okay.
What about burning the sails, making the ships unable to leave?
Mateo says, I do know how to do those things. It's possible that I could get, I could take Ralph and the Fortis, and we could do exactly that. We could try and protect Illyria's shipments. I can't guarantee success or failure, though, because obviously the Fortis is a smuggler's ship, and...
Could we do something more underhanded? We don't need naval combat. That seems to be in losing proposition. But again, could we maybe sabotage their ship in some way such that they can't go out to sea?
The problem, this is Taylor speaking, all reports seem to link these pirates to, not locally to Kintargo's waters, right? They wolf and they hound near our waters, but we don't know what their base of operations is. Nobody does. That information is being discerned as we speak, and we will probably hear about it through, Barzillai's scryers and seers before I have any kind of my eyes and ears figure out where it is or what they do. But as far as I understand it, I think the only way that we'll be able to successfully defend Illyrio's ships is with a ship of our own.
The ship being the ship that they already have, or is it
The ship
securing
being
another ship?
the ship
Vasquez?
being the Fortis, the smuggler ship that Mateo owns and is
Right.
in the harbor. Ralph,
I just
obviously
wanted to
the
make
sure.
first
What about
mate. You
Ralph?
have a team.
So maybe Miss Shadowvale, I can buy. I can buy a little time for us with an appeal to your heart. Are you familiar with the Savaphage?
Yes.
That seems to be on track to come back in a big way, and that has been the matter that has been distracting us. So maybe you understand why these ships have been secondary to preventing mass extinction event in this.
I understand. I do not live under a I do not live under a rock, and I know that the murders that have been, wreaking our city match those of the Temple Hill Slasher. And I know very well that the Temple Hill Slasher was trying to reintroduce the Savaphage that, somewhat ironically, gave me the land holdings that I enjoy to this day. However, I also know that Barzillai Thrun is doing everything he can to stop the Savaphage from coming to pass. If the Savaphage is your priority, so be it. I will not ask you to, I will not ask you to surrender that noble ideal. But I have full confidence that Sabo the Spider and, I guess it's her nephew, Baron Rogar, will be successful in stopping, this. Maybe he's even a copycat. I don't know.
We can confirm that he is attempting to bring back the Savaphage.
Even so. I'm afraid if I don't take this offer, and I'm afraid if we don't get the help we need, that I won't be able to. I am stuck in the same rock and hard place that I am now putting you in. And I want to consult before we make this decision, because I don't want to leave you out of the loop. I obviously believe in the cause of Kintargo, but I believe in my station and I believe in my holdings more than that.
So what would you propose we do if you were to not take this course of action? Because I'm quite frankly more inclined to secure your patronage over many other noble goals.
Okay. So backing out, out of character for a second. Basically, what this is coming down to is she needs a firm commitment, like right now, or else she's walking. Right.
Well, I get that. But what is so?
And the firm commitment, the only firm commitment that has been suggested so far is using the Fortis, but Mateo has obviously cautioned that using the Fortis, that using Ralph and the pirates, right? That is not a sure thing. There's plenty of danger when you're throwing up a smuggler ship against pirate ships of unknown, firepower, of unknown quantity. We don't know how many of them there are, how good they are at being pirates. All of those questions are kind of up in the air. And on top of that, there's no guarantee that if Mateo went out to defend these ships that are, coming in and out of Kintargo's harbor, that the warship, the Scourge of Belial, that his brother is coming in on, right? This warship, which is the smuggler ship is kind of like a maybe like a schooner. Do you guys know what a schooner is? It's about that size.
Yeah,
maybe it's a little bigger than that. But it's a smuggler's boat, right? It's a relatively small boat, big sails, fast, light kind of thing. The Scourge of Belial is like a frigate, right? This thing is like a big ass 2-decker warship. And so, if the Scourge of Belial looks at Mateo wrong, and there are, things get shitty, it's entirely possible that you'll lose Mateo, that you'll lose the
The Fortis and Ralph.
the Fortis, that you'll lose Ralph, that you'll lose the pirates. It would probably deal morale damage, right? You also wouldn't be making good on your deal with Illyria, right? If the defense that you gave her, so she might pull out, right? There's a lot of downside here. But if you want to roll the dice and try and keep her patronage while still going after the serial killer, right? That's how you do it. Otherwise...
Can we send Ariandis after the serial killer?
Oh, jeez. That's clever. Yeah, but I mean, well, yeah.
Why don't we split up as a party?
It's about the same-ish.
Let's split the party, guys.
Well,
Yeah, right.
So that's sort of my thinking is, why couldn't we go along on the boat and try and cause some mayhem, or like be able to run
if we're engaging in the, so I don't know if you remember, Alaric, but if we engage with Cassius Vasquez, it's generally going to be on diplomatic terms, correct?
That is the idea. Taylor wants you to make a deal, right? Taylor, because Cassius hates Asmodeus, the Church of Asmodeus, which means that he de facto hates Barzillai Thrun. Barzillai Thrun is an inquisitor of Asmodeus, right? And his top lieutenant is the witch, but his other top lieutenant is Cornstein Grivner, who's, the high priest of Asmodeus in the city, right? So it's not that hard for you to like make the diplomatic case to work with Cassius. But anyway, so Alaric, if you were to do something like that, you would have to dedicate time to it, right? She would accept that, right? Where you guys accompany her boats to try and keep them safe from these marauding pirates. That definitely makes a lot of sense. But it would be you switching gears, right? You would be shelving the serial killer to the third week, right? Which is the most dangerous week, and to the lowest priority. And you would be taking on this defense mission.
All right. So, understanding what we do now, I think we have to bring it to a vote of the council. Yes.
Fair enough. Also, by the way, I didn't quite finish this thought, but sending Ariandis against the serial killer is also possible. But it has about the same chance of success that Mateo's thing does. So it's kind of a dice roll either way. And if she fails, you head into the third week of serial killer, right? So
do we know approximately how likely it is that she'd succeed? Like,
boy, jeez, I don't know that I want to give you that number.
Okay.
It's how about this? How about this?
Does she feel?
For the chance of success for both Mateo and Ariandis, no matter kind of what side you want them to kind of err on, right? Because really what you're saying is I want to dedicate part of our team, right, to try and like cut off this thing that we're working on in the second week, so that it doesn't drop to the third week of priority where things get really shitty. The chances of their success are less than 50%. But that could be 49%, right? And that could be 1%. You don't know. It's
unlikely. What are the chances of like a super critical failure in either of those situations? Is it the remainder?
I can't give you that information.
Okay.
Both of those, by the way, do have a super critical failure, right? If Ariandis, both of those have a super critical failure state. The Ariandis one is a little bit more unclear, but I kind of can't go into too much detail of what that would look like.
I understand.
Oh, I'm sure you could speculate.
We're in Rakax, Marigrug. Do any of you have any thoughts?
Also, by the way, what happens if Lou drops out as benefactor? You guys start draining 200 gold per week from the treasury for upkeep, essentially.
Who gave the Shadow Veils the offer again?
Cassius Vasquez. Basically, so here's like the big macro problem, right? Lou came to you with this a couple of weeks ago. She has ships moving in and out of the harbor all the time, but they're getting hit by pirates, and nobody knows where these pirates are from or what they're kind of doing, right? And this is one of the reasons that Cassius Vasquez has been brought north. Cassius has said, "I will defend your ships for you if you pledge your loyalty to Bars Lythrune in return, right?
But we're close to making a deal with Cassius, or at least we're feeling him out.
It is possible. Yeah, it is possible to make a deal with Cassius. Though I will say, as soon as Aluria has publicly pledged her support, it is extremely difficult for her to go back on that pledge, right? Because it's a public,
Yeah, but
it's
she's
a public
not
thing,
publicly giving us money.
right? But her books are under that much more scrutiny, and so it just becomes harder. In order to do that, and the subtext here is she's not willing to kind of undertake that risk. Yeah, it's possible, but she's not willing to undertake that risk while she has kind of publicly declared one way or the other. I will say, by the way, just so you know, there are other benefactors in the city. Basically, if the rebellion has a benefactor, right now your benefactor is Lou. You don't pay any of these upkeep costs. That kind of stuff is just that they covered that. But there are other benefactors in the city that if you could convince them, right, to fund the organization, you wouldn't have that 200 gold drain.
Okay.
So it is possible that you let Lou go by.
The other,
right.
the
Also,
other-
the other thing you will lose if Lou leaves is you have that safe house, Clench Jaws. That'll go. But
the other option is that we go and camp out. What district was that?
Red
What?
Roof?
Was it Red Roof? I just don't remember where. We're trying to remember
Where
what
the
our
serial
other-
killer
what our
is?
other
Oh,
option
for the
is, yeah.
serial killer. Yeah. I mean, you can keep doing the serial killer as normal. I don't actually remember
What is
offhand
that
because it was a
normal,
couple of
I
weeks
guess,
ago.
is sort of-
So, sorry, I don't think actually he meant the serial. What district are you talking about, Alaric?
Didn't we as part of our investigation?
Oh, it is. Yeah,
last
the V's.
week we found out that, or we didn't find out, but we deducted or deduced, not deducted.
We
Very
deduced
good
the
at
killer
this
would probably
language.
strike in the V area, I believe, next, right?
Oh, Villigry? That
Yeah.
that sounds right to
That's
me.
right. I have this totally in notes.
Right. He because
And is
he
that
has
what
hit
we're
3
doing?
of the 4 under patrolled areas, right? Am I remembering that
And
correctly?
so what is our other option if we don't help Lou out this week?
Is do filigree.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess to boil it down, right? You kind of have 4 choices, right? You can stick the current path, right, which will Lou goes with Cassius. You have to find a new benefactor, but you stop the serial killer in week 2, theoretically. But I mean, you do. Let's be real. You can switch gears, right? Put the serial killer off to week 3, wherein it gets very dangerous because he only has 1 more person to kill before he hits. Before he completes the ritual. And you can negotiate the deal with Cassius now before Lou has to accept, right? And then you can combine either of those 2 priorities being the priority for the party and try and solve the other one with either Ariandis by going and killing Cassius or by Mateo by escorting Lou's ships. If it's successful, right, you head off that 3rd week terribleness, right? But if it's a failure, bad things happen.
Can we go?
Quick question.
Sure.
Thing. Is Mateo aware? We were all skitching ourselves about Mateo knowing about this Cassius deal.
I am under the as far as you have brought it up to Mateo, right?
Yeah.
And he said, under absolutely no circumstances, am I going to be in the
Be in league with his brother.
be in league with his brother, essentially, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. One last question. Would it be possible to do something instead of sending Ariandis to try and find and kill the serial killer, try and delay it, dress them up as Dotari and patrol the Villigry so that it's harder for that finding an innocent victim or something like that?
You can kind of flavor that however you want, but the odds are going to stay about the same.
Okay.
I
All right.
guess.
All right.
Can we throw a lot of money to get like a better ship and stuff
No,
like that?
I will say. Whoa, that's interesting. Not at the drop of the
Like,
hat,
personal
right?
funds
You
is
you
like
are you are
fine.
working in a matter of hours and days, right? You don't really have like the weeks to like negotiate big upgrades to Mateo's ship and whatnot. But something I will add. Shit, I lost my thought. What was I gonna say? It was something about Ariandis. And okay. So if you wanted Ariandis to delay that murder, that fifth murder, you could do that.
Well, that I thought
Because
was...
then it would allow you to hypothetically interrogate this guy, so you can understand his motives. Like obviously he has some kind of connection. Well, maybe not obviously. He could be doing it on its own, but it's more likely than not that he's working with or for the Coven of Lilith, and understanding his motivations for why. And how he got that power will probably get you closer to solving the Coven of Lilith problem in the city, once and for all.
Okay. At any rate, I do believe it's time to take a vote. Unless anybody has any further schemes or plans or concerns to air.
So we can't just throw.
I think
We won't be. Yeah. Okay. Nope. I got nothing.
I would vote, or I would argue, and this will make my vote clear, that we cannot and should not we can very literally not afford to lose the patronage and favor of Illyria. And her point is well taken. We are not the only people working on this problem of the serial killer. There is Barzillai. He may be an enemy of ours politically, but if he and it may not be convenient for us if he solves this murder, but we are both working towards the same end, and meanwhile no one is currently working towards protecting our interests and Illuria's interests. So my thought is that we seek to help her out in return for, or in both appreciation and in the future dividends that will pay us.
Well said, Sir Alaric. But we have had this argument before, and we decided to go with the killer the first time. So I do think all that's left to do is to vote.
I have given you my vote.
I also vote in favor of helping Lady Illyria. How say you, Rakax, Weirin, and Marigrug?
I have sent Mateo on a fool's quest before. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going. I don't agree with this line. I'm sticking.
You can agree, by the way. To you guys, so essentially, it sounds like what's on the table that Alaric and Beauregard just agreed to is that you would switch priorities, right? Raise the priority of completing, of figuring out Cassius, right? Basically, so just to give you a time scale.
The party would go on some sort of expedition, quest, whatever you want, to prevent, intercede, interdict, annoy these pirates, and secure Illuria's shipping privileges.
So what the fuck?
Sorry. What do you mean? What, something happened?
Why is the oven on?
Anyway,
I've been sorry.
Anyway, we will resolve this issue.
Here's what I'm thinking.
It sounds, or not Weirin, Marigrug, it sounds like you object to sending Mateo in his ship, which is a separate matter entirely to...
Right.
It is...
No, you did not let me finish.
Okay.
So that is not my only problem with this.
Okay.
Not many of you in this party almost contracted the Sabotage, okay? Not many of you were at risk or can actually understand what could happen because you didn't experience it. I find this to be the top priority, and because I find that to be the top priority in stopping the Sabotage, and because I don't think it's okay to send Mateo on this quest, I'm sorry, I don't agree with helping Illyria right now.
Cold fucking blooded, dude.
His vote is as valuable as anyone else's.
Cax.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, by the
Okay,
way,
so-
let's say Taylor and Vigo
Channel,
vote.
a win
They,
yellow space.
the four
Warren,
NPCs
you
split
are
their vote,
Revavin.
right? 2 and 2, right? Taylor and Vigo
Channel,
vote with
a win yellow
Alaric
space.
and Beauregard, Lyra and Mateo vote with Marigrug.
Oh, Alaric and Beauregard vote against each other?
No, Alaric and Beauregard are voting together. They are voting
we are
for
voting to
let's help Illyria right now, right? Let's put the serial killer aside to help Illyria.
I turn to Weirin and I ask him his opinion. Weirin, what say you? I have a feeling I know the answer.
I've already told you before. I think that we need to put all of our efforts into stopping a second coming of the sabotage. You've lived in the city your whole life. You don't know what it's like out there. The beastmen just roaming wild, sacking, pillaging, raping villages. It's terrible. And then they would do that to this entire city and just tear it apart. And you think it's okay to just protect some shipments over protecting the people?
I asked for your vote,
You
not
discussed-
for a sermon. And I'm sure Rakax will fall in line with whatever you say.
Not to mention, by the way, that basically the only hope of the Way Watchers right now is that Kintargo will get its shit together
Channel,
and send a
Welders,
help
I'm hoping to
before
fix it.
the two war herds, right, rip through the countryside and completely destroy everything, right? If another Sabophage pops up in the city, that plan is fucked. The Way Watchers are fucked, right? Everything is fucked.
I say, okay. I turn to Rakax and say, I'm sure you will vote with Weirin as you always do, but maybe you'll surprise me. What is your vote, Rakax?
Stupid. You stupid nobles.
All right.
Doing.
I turn to Lady Illyria and I say,
Oh,
Lady
man.
Illyria, I am sorry.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
What?
Shut up, Beauregard. So the third week, if we were to push off stopping the Sabophage, will the Sabophage immediately ignite and
So
plague
here's
the lands?
here is the timetable.
I'm asking
Right.
Illyria in character.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how the Sabophage was started originally, but it ripped through northern Kintargo in 12 hours.
In 12
So-
hours.
Right.
Did it happen? So you understand that it was 5 weeks, and after the 5th week, it began, correct?
No, it was prevented the last time, wasn't it?
What? Yeah, the last time it was prevented by Tonrik. Tonrik.
When
Sorry.
did it? When was it prevented?
Okay, so years and years ago, the Temple Hill Slasher, the original one, the first thing he did, right, the first murder was he killed the lictor of the Order of the Torrent, which just sent the city into a panic. Like, everybody was freaking out. And then there were 3 more murders, right? And Tonrik was the Order of the Torrent guy who was investigating it. And he found the Temple Hill Slasher at the scene of the 5th murder, about to complete the ritual, and he killed him, right? Saving the city. But nobody knew that the ritual was going to take place, right? Like, they didn't know that until after the fact, until Tonrik had stopped him, right? And the ritual never went off. So you don't know what it looks like, right? The ritual could take any one of a number of different forms. So it could be extremely virulent, spread through the city immediately, right? It could be a slower burn where, like, it infects people slowly and then turns them all at once, kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that could go down.
Well, I was going to vote to prioritize.
Also, just
shipments.
because I had to do one more thing, and you actually rolled well on this. Also, Hunter and Beauregard rolled well on this. You know that she can't possibly be telling the truth when she says 12 hours. Sabophage takes longer than that to turn somebody.
Do we get the sense that she's intentionally lying?
She may be intentionally lying in order to sway, favor and get this resolved.
Sounds like she wants to take Cassius's deal. Is that
Little bit.
accurate?
That is what the evidence would suggest. Is really what I
Hey,
mean to
don't
say.
tell the characters what they should think.
Yeah.
Mango, use your own brain.
She could also be misremembering. She could also, maybe the Sabophage has lost some of its potency over the years, I guess. But based on the information that you have, I think, unless I'm misremembering this. Where's the Beastman thing?
In any regards, we're Cox. Well, did you want to finish your thought?
Yes, I was going to. Wait, did you just say 12 hours? Didn't
It may have been a little bit longer.
Maribek here just it took him days.
It was she says it was 80 years ago. I don't remember the specifics. I'm sorry.
But you are an elf, correct? 80 years is but a drop of the hat.
Can I sense motive on that sentence?
Yes, you may.
Beauregard would like to tell me what he senses.
That, right?
Yeah, I'm rolling this.
Beauregard would like to tell me what he senses. That would be greatly appreciated.
So
Beauregard and Cax don't get anything from that.
I gotta listen for that.
Marigrug thinks she's telling the truth. That she might be misremembering the details.
Anyway,
What do I think?
You can't tell one way or the other. Everybody else can't tell one way or the other. The only person who has like a definitive read is Marigrug, who thinks definitively she's telling the truth, that she misremembers because it was 80 years ago.
I mean, I'm super young, so that makes sense.
Marigrug, how long did it take for you to contract Sabophage, or the almost contracted?
No, it was stack based. Like I would have woken up the next day with it.
How many days? How many days did it take? It was 7 days, right?
No. It's based upon the number of stacks, like with the blood on you.
No,
It's more complicated than that.
I'm talking to you in person, like what happened.
Oh, sorry.
How
In person,
long would...
what is Marigrug's memory of that? Though you did hear specific numbers. You know the specific numbers, because at the very least, Arahe would have told you guys when you were trying to figure out which one of her people were infected, right? Because what happens is you get poison, right? And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stacks of poison, and on that 7th stack, you contract the disease. And then...
Do you get 1 stack per day, or do you... how...
Yeah, so you save against the poison every day, right? And if you fail the save, you get more stacks. If you succeed the save, you kind of like go down in stacks, right?
But repeated applications also increase stacks.
But repeated applications also increase stacks. So you can get 7 stacks in one day if you're fighting Beastmen and getting blood spraying all over you. Sprayed.
Interesting.
We're getting a little bogged down in not RP.
I was actually... now that we have some time and we understand... Weirin, you should... your mouth. Now that I understand the gravity of the situation, I think I will actually change my vote and let us go save your shipment.
Oh damn!
What?
I'll give you guys a moment to RP that out.
Rikax, you certainly are a wild card. Or a wild cat.
Clearly, we value different things.
I would have thought that you would put more value on individuals' lives than on money. There's someone so honorable as yourself.
There's only honor in victory.
Welcome our cat-like friend.
There's only honor. Do not welcome me. I hate everyone equally.
I tap Alaric on the shoulder and say, "Don't talk to him. He's jumpy. He might switch back. Just keep your mouth shut."
I hate everyone equally. Ever since I lost the love of my life, nothing matters.
God damn! Fuck! I always forget that you sent her that letter and she sent you the message, and we haven't done We haven't done that.
Yes,
Damn
we
it.
will. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's
This is my
it's not
vote.
the time. It's not the time for that. Okay, cool. So you guys have agreed. Are you going to be sending Ariandis on the mission to try and wait? No, sorry, it would be the other way around, right, Mateo?
No, we're sending if
No,
we're
it's
going.
Shit, no, yeah, I was right the first time.
to
Ariandis.
stall the killer. Yeah, we
Yeah.
at least have to do that much. I say to the group. We have to use at least most of our other resources to try and help this if we're personally gonna protect shipments.
I will offer, as much as it pains me to put my cousin in danger, I will offer that as concession to you. She is capable. I believe in her abilities.
That's 2 votes for. 3 more party members yet to vote.
Also,
The vote's
just to
not
be
in.
clear,
Are we voting? Wait, I thought we were voting.
So the vote.
Sending Ariandis?
Yeah, this is the vote to. Are you going to send Ariandis to try and head off the killer for 1 more week?
I vote to send Ariandis.
so as a note, I thought we might have had 2 options. She goes directly after the killer, or just to prevent the killer from doing their thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah, you do have those 2 options, and they have different effects, definitely. Though the chance of success is basically the same.
Except maybe she won't die in one case, or no.
Yeah, there's a couple of marginal differences that I don't want to get into, but you can extrapolate out from them logically if you want. And it doesn't bother,
What do you think, Beauregard?
I already cast my. I said as a concession to you, I would send my cousin into danger, but
Yeah, but there are 2 ways of sending her into danger. That's what I'm asking.
I think she's better served trying to delay the killer than a direct assault. I think that puts her in nominally less danger, but my reason is purely
I can see
selfish.
that point if we're going down this line.
My reasons are purely selfish, and I have no problem admitting that.
I think there's a better chance of.
I am personally conflicted because I feel that Ariandis is very valuable asset to the organization, and I don't know if it's worth the risk. At the same time, getting this delay would be extremely valuable as well. I would say that I have not heard sufficient argument either way. But I guess that
I will say, no matter what, there's a chance that Ariandis and her team, I think they're called Vanguards, get eliminated, right? And that you can't use them in the future. That definitely exists.
I would vote that we keep Ariandis in our back pocket. There may be other instances in which her talents are better used.
So, Beauregard, are you
if
voting
you just want to
for
keep her in
sending
your
Ariandis or keeping Ariandis?
I'm voting for sending Ariandis, but in my view, would be the less dangerous option, which is prevention rather than attempting to directly.
Okay, cool. So, we're in Maragrug and.
So.
I am not strongly opposed to sending Ariandis on this mission. It's more just like practically, it might be better to keep her in our back.
Yeah.
If she is so particularly valuable, then we can't just save her to send her on surefire missions. Clearly, that's not using their abilities optimally.
Most of her missions aren't going to have the failure, like kind of critical failure chance that this one does.
Sure,
Wait,
there's more in-character stuff.
This one was exceptionally difficult.
That's my point. This one is exceptionally difficult, right? So there's the chance, right?
Right.
But I think her base rules text says, right, like if the roll fails, right, if she fails to assassinate the target, that is treated as she never found a good opening to attack the target and therefore was in no danger at all, right? So basically, there is no failure case for Ariandis under normal circumstances. But because these circumstances are relatively extraordinary, there is. Also because I have to even out the math to make it a real choice. He said, explaining the game theory behind. Anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Keep going.
Who's left to vote? As
It's
long as
2 to
we're
1
dealing
right now.
with this silly democracy, I still think that we should just have Beauregard make all the decisions.
I mean,
All right, then you should give me
I
your
guess
vote.
that one
We can
does
end
not
this.
have to
It's true. If
abide
you
by
vote
the
if you
decision
vote with
of a
Beauregard,
democracy.
that's 3-0. Maragog and Rakax haven't voted. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, Maragog, Rakax. What's your
I'm
opinion?
Okay. I'm okay with the idea of sending Ariandis to thwart the success of said assassin. I'm not comfortable with that.
Good opinions. Well, do I have the NPCs break the tie?
Wait. Sorry.
We have a tie.
We have
There's
5
5 of us.
members. There can't be a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just gave the floor. I mean, I don't know if Maragog and
Sorry,
Oh,
Larry.
wait, you guys didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I
didn't realize you weren't transmitting.
No, my proposal was like, I agree with the idea that best case is sending her in to thwart the assassination, not to stop the assassin directly, but I'm still not comfortable with this instead of us going in.
Okay. So wait, that's an affirmative vote, right?
That's an affirmative vote. I'm just still nifty.
All right. Okay. We will roll that. Should we roll that now? Do you guys want to roll that now? We can break the suspense for our however many viewers we have. Hello, viewers.
We've got some
Yeah,
chat too.
why not?
Yeah.
No chat.
We're your mic is still doing something funky, which
I think it's that my Comcasting that is being lame.
It's Warren, not Weirin.
Warren, not Warren, my bad.
Oh, Warren.
Anyway, what's the roll for this?
It would be 1d100, and then you choose high or low. Or, well, maybe I do a range? No, high or low is fine.
Who wants who wants to roll it? I will if no one else will.
Go for it.
This is your
Beauregard
cousin.
as
I
our
also
fearless
suck at
not
rolling.
leader.
As the fearless not leader, because you vote on everything.
I'll vote. I'll call high unless anybody objects. All right.
Take a vote.
Decision passed.
All right. 1d100 calling high. Oh, that's pretty high.
The mission is successful.
Hey, we did it!
So in the far future, you will know that Ariandis does successfully delay the serial killer for enough time for you guys to follow up on that. Anyway, now we have another problem to deal with. So Illuria, to finish this off, Illuria gets up and she says, "I appreciate it. You have a few days. I have to make my decision. You know, like, let's say that this is Friday morning, right? I have to make my decision on Monday, right? So as long as you can convince Cassius to rescind that offer by Monday, I will remain as benefactor, essentially, right? So however you want to deal with Cassius, which we're going to leave up to next time, you have 3 days to essentially accomplish that. And then Illuria leaves. She says, "Thank you. You restored my faith in the organization. I was beginning to lose my way just a little bit, but I'm glad that we came to terms."
I look at Illuria and I say, "Don't lose your way. You're mine."
Don't lose the way.
Okay. Then Taylor says, "Okay, so we have another problem, and this is the one that I don't think we can. I don't think we can put this off."
Fun.
Kex'ti, who I told you guys about, he's the one that's been siphoning off our followers.
He's the dirty tiefling. Ugh.
He has been.
Kex'ti's a drow, isn't he?
Yes. Did I tell you Kex'ti's background? And
I'm sorry, I misremembered. I thought
Hedman Haste.
tiefling.
Hedman Haste did run a second rebellion that was running in parallel and attracting people away from Oz, but we brought him into the fold. He's one of our valued allies.
He is now one of your like vassals, kind of. He kind of like you like sublet your rebellion to him in Red Roof, which is where he operates, because that's where all the tieflings live, and you guys don't get out the tiefling vote.
Not nearly as well as Cinnamon Haste does.
Yeah, not nearly as well as Hedman Haste does. I agree. So Kex'ti is a drow revolutionary who's been a revolutionary for a long time, and he's come to Kintargo to fight the forces of Barzillai Thrun. For a couple of weeks, he's been slowly siphoning off your followers. It really has picked up recently, right? If you don't make a change now, he's just going to bleed the rebellion dry.
Now, when you say he's a revolutionary, is he like a professional revolutionary? Like causing civil...
She says, as far as I know, he has led 6 rebellions in the Underdark. This is the first rebellion that he's leading on the surface. I don't have too much specific information, but I do have a list of some of our supporters who we could talk to in order to learn more about Kex'ti.
All right.
She says, we know where Kex'ti is located, and we're going to have to figure out some kind of deal in order to make things work out with him. But before we do that, where is my special cheat sheet? Okay, so there are 5 traits that you guys can learn about Kex'ti beforehand. I'm going to type them out in the chat. And you tell me which. I think I was gonna do 3.
This is an
Chuck
odd
was
question. Can we roll something like knowledge religion to understand like his motivations?
That will be revealed by these. That will be revealed by these traits.
He is leading rebellions in the Underdark. Is it against the Drow being so fucked?
Taylor says, honestly, I don't have a good sense for whether or not that's the case. Maybe
knowledge
is the answer.
history that.
Yeah, sure.
That would be a 24 in history.
It's really not enough.
Okay.
Because drow history, it's complicated.
How about that 32 knowledge history?
You know, that might be enough to get you something. What do I think that'll get me? So he is a longtime revolutionary. He's led 6 different rebellions in the Underdark. Only some of them have been successful. He is, and the other thing that you learn is that he's a monk. He spent some time in a drow monastery. And he has these like, oh, by the way, you don't know. By the way, I have a visual for him down here, but I will pull him up so that all of our glorious viewers can see what the glorious Kex'ti Dalindala, oh, also his last name is Dalindala, what the glorious Kex'ti Dalindala looks like. Do you guys see that?
Oof, yeah, he's under the grid. Is there a way for you to bring it on top of the grid, or is that just the way it's
Yeah, I can bring that on top of the grid, that's fine. Oh, shit.
That was totally not copyright infringement.
There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit of copyright infringement. Yeah, so he has these tattoos. Yeah, he has these tattoos all over from his time as a monk or whatever. But anyway, so here are the 5 things that the supporters that left you to go to him will share. You can choose 3 to look up on before you go meet with him in person. His approach to diplomacy, his time at the monastery, just what, you know, life in the Underdark is like in his context, his successes as a revolutionary and his failures as a revolutionary.
And we get to pick 3?
You get to pick 3.
Diplomacy.
And then roll a gather information check. Because technically, you actually have to gather the information.
Okay, I can re-roll those, or I can double roll those.
Double roll those, right?
What is diplomacy? Like, what is that?
It is just explaining his approach to diplomacy.
Oh.
I would say we go diplomacy, successes, and failures, but I also, I'm open to
Um,
suggestions.
I would maybe. So that is my initial thought as well, Beauregard. But maybe having something to relate to him with about his. I basically, if we know more about the monastery, we might be able to in some way uh, use his motivations and teachings or understandings in our negotiations with him. I would say diplomacy, monastery successes.
While I understand your concerns, I do think um, his his revolutionary uh, activities are more important than his monastery activities. But I understand your input. Weirin, Rakax, and Maragrug, what say you?
I believe these three diplomacy successes and failures, they will bring us the most information. We will eventually have to encounter him with his training from the monastery, and I believe information from the Underdark is irrelevant to our current situation.
And Weirin and Rakax?
I would tend
Um,
to agree with
Oh,
the
Weirin,
original
Rakax.
proposition:
yeah,
diplomacy, successes, and failures.
Was that too soft
No, we
before?
got
No,
we
you're
got you,
good.
Rakax. Sorry.
We're in, I think, is the last person
Yeah.
that you
yeah,
meant to say.
I'm fine with that. I don't want to spread us too thin to do other things.
Diplomacy, successes, and failures seems to be the.
All right.
Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I
Okay.
roll all of them?
Yeah. Roll first. Let's roll first on diplomacy. That's good enough. Okay.
Oh wait, I rolled the wrong one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I'll give it to you. Actually, can somebody like aid another that?
Or I do.
You just need a little bit. Just
What
a
is
little
it
bit
to
of help.
gather information?
Diplomacy.
What do we roll?
Diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
Just beat a 10 with diplomacy.
I think I got
Yeah,
a.
I'm
I
going
think I
to my
have
He
a-
seat.
said, revealing the DC to you guys. There we go. Okay, so this is Kex'ti's approach to diplomacy. Kex'ti is well known for having grown up in an underdark inn, learning to cook all manner of cuisine for his drow masters. Even after he became a powerful diplomatic figure, Kex'ti hosted great feasts for his supporters and allies, typically making sure that the alliances and agreements he forged were done over bread and wine. For posterity.
So he's a foodie.
He is a foodie.
All right. Successes then now.
Oh, by the way, I'm just gonna let this one out now. His rebellion is called Sanctuary. Yes. Uh, get at me. Yeah. That's solid. That's fine. Okay, cool. So these are his successes. Kex'ti has run 3 successful campaigns so far, each of them in frontier cities of the Underdark. Kex'ti used different tactics each time, brute forcing his first victory, employing subterfuge in his second, and wresting control of the third with no bloodshed at all. After each success, he helps transition the city to governance, but has no stomach for leadership himself, and typically moves on when the revolutionary fervor dies down. Or
All
What
right.
was
posterity.
what were they rebelling against?
That information is not known.
All right. And then failures.
No, actually, you could like do
Ooh.
guess a knowledge dungeoneering check,
Oh,
kind
that's
of.
the Underdark.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
it's
I
the Underdark,
totally
technically, right?
don't have. Well,
I don't think
know.
knowledge history is really all that appropriate.
I mean,
Knowledge.
if it
It's a
was
little bit appropriate.
if it was a famous enough rebellion that like we knew about it on the surface, I think it'd be relevant. But if it's
See, it's not really about that. It's kind of about like drow
oh, okay.
culture, I guess, if
Well,
that
yeah.
makes
Well,
sense.
my thing is well, I don't know if I would assume that Alaric knows the basics of because they are elves or
Do you have
mini elves.
lore?
I'm trying to figure out where my character sheet went. It disappeared. There it is. It's back.
Oh, you mean like lore for like elves and shit?
Yeah, I mean I didn't take a skill called Lore Elves, but let's see if I have a background point available. No, I don't. That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean it's knowledge engineering to try and figure that out. You can
I
actually
do
roll
have
a.
a train, so I have trained at
You know,
exactly
to be
one
honest,
point.
that's good enough. So the Drow society is a lot like Kintargo's in that it's just very oppressive, right? Actually, can you just roll one more engineering check, just for like this second piece of information?
Sure.
Okay, so the Underdark is made up of 3 layers, right? And the top layer is wilderness. Um, the Drow live on the second layer, which is like the middle layer, right? The Drow Empire stretches all throughout that middle layer, but they are always trying to move up to the top layer in order to colonize some of that like wilderness land. So they have these frontier cities out there. These are the cities. They're relatively isolated, and they're far away from the Drow Empire itself, which is why they make such prime targets for rebellions against like the brutal oppressors that are the Drow Empire. So that's what you get. Your third one is failures. Did you already roll that, Beauregard? Failures?
I have not. I will do
Okay.
that.
Solid. Okay. Kex'ti has had 3 failed rebellion campaigns, 2 in the frontier cities of the Underdark, and 1 in a respected, if isolated, travel hub. The travel hub, his first home, was where he rose to prominence originally, coming to lead the first revolt in ages to dangerous effect by fighting in the streets. His second failure came from hiding in the shadows for too long when a rival rebellion starved his supporters of supporters and resources and eventually swallowed its husk. His third failure, and the most brutal, came when his closest lieutenant betrayed him to the establishment for money, a platform, and power. For posterity.
Can we do any sort of reconnaissance on his rebellion, like understanding who the players are? With an explicit eye towards if all else fails.
Do we know the name of that second failed rebellion?
The second failed rebellion is called
Legacy of the Seals.
The Dead Crow Rebellion.
The Dead Crow Rebellion?
Yep, that's what it's called. Definitely. I said, just making up the name.
That's perfect. I've got a line prepared. It's great.
Sounds good. If you want to do reconnaissance, feel free, but be aware that like that kind of stuff takes time, and eating into your time to deal with Alluria's problem is probably not wise. You should try and kick this out as quickly as possible.
As Alric suggests, I say he seems to be a man of the people. I'm sure he can be reasoned with. I suggest we give it the good old speakeroo, as it were.
The supporters confirm
Can we
that he is based. They confirm that he is based in a like a big mess hall, like a big banquet hall. This like also kind of doubles as an inn in the Yolubilis docks. Typically, this place is filled with the sailors coming in and out, but because the harbor has a lot less traffic because of martial law and everything like that, the inn was relatively empty. And that's why it now serves as a base for his rebellion sanctuary. Also, you know that Kex'ti is something of like, a megalomaniac, and he doesn't have much in the way of like lieutenants or like other people that you could, he very much likes to be at the top of his food chain, and he doesn't have, there is no Alaric to his Beauregard, so to speak.
Sorry, Alaric, you were saying something? Speaking of Alarics?
I was wondering if we still had Lyra with us to perhaps prepare a meal for.
Excellent. Yes, I was going to say we should purchase ourselves some nice wine and at least some bread, and a nice meal would also be appreciated.
That definitely sounds like a good idea. Lyra is more than happy to help out. How much money do you want to spend?
200 GP.
Sounds good. You're able to get a fairly expensive
Shouldn't that
bottle
be
of wine.
Okay, it's gone. Sorry.
What? Huh? But who's spending 200 GP? Is that party funds or my funds? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to make a good first impression.
Seems
I
reasonable.
mean, I'd be willing to
I'll-
split that.
I'll throw in.
Alright, so everyone putting in 40 GP?
40 GP.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. You get a really fancy bottle of wine, and bread. You go to the best bakery in the city, get the freshest bread that they have, and head over to the banquet hall. When you enter the banquet hall, it is filled with people. They are having a good time, getting a little bit drunk, getting a little bit wasted. You can see that, like, it's if a Dotari were to walk in here, it would be easy to miss. But because you run a rebellion, you kind of see the details that put together that this is their headquarters, right? There are racks on the sides of the walls where people, like where people would otherwise put up their like weapons or like maybe their armor and stuff like that. And those weapons are a little too uniform to have it just be like random people that just happen by and they stow their weapon on the rack and then bring it out, right? That kind of thing. The way that a couple of people are, huddled over a table, you get the sense that they're probably planning something like a raid or something like that. You also know, obviously, that Sanctuary has gone public. That's the big difference between you and them at the moment, is that Kex'ti has brought his rebellion into the limelight, and that's the major attracting feature for his rebellion, for why your supporters are leaving. Okay?
All right.
All the way at the back, there's like a little bit, the banquet hall. Like think like that great hall in the Harry Potter movies, like that Hogwarts one. It's got like these really really long tables, and in the back there's kind of like a raised stage almost. And up there, you can see clearly in the middle of the table is Kex'ti. He looks like that. He has got those chain, he's got like those chain things kind of hanging off his belt. There's actually a couple of potions spread out in front of him, but he isn't eating anything at the current time. And he's just talking to somebody. What do you guys want to do?
I think I want to swagger in, walk up to Mr. Kex'ti Dalaran with wine and bread, and put it on the table and say, Mr. What's his last name again? What's
Dalindala.
Dalindala. Mr. Dalindala, I would like to break bread with you and discuss some important matters.
Important? Kex'ti smiles. He smirks, actually. And he says, "Hoi, friends. I have been waiting for you to come by my doorstep, Beauregard Jaltero. I have heard a lot about you from some friends of yours.
Channel,
I guess, but I'm glad that we're finally getting the time to have this chat. It's very easy to get lost in the weeds and never have two like-minded men like us.
Channel, Wubbers,
speak.
fucking.
And
Channel, Wubbers,
I am especially humbled by this fine vintage and sniffs the bread, wonderful smelling sourdough that you've chosen to bring me. At this point, you guys are going to be moving into one of our vaunted, haven't done one of these in forever, diplomacy challenges. I'm going to show you the diplomacy challenge rules, which I haven't updated, but I don't think I changed anything, so...
I'm going to have a quiet... Back in time, I'm going to have had a quiet word with Weirin and Marigrug, if that's okay.
Solid. That sounds fine. That sounds good.
Use your ranks on some check?
Yeah, on diplomacy or intimidation.
So what I will say, for this diplomacy challenge, what it's a little bit different is, You know how there are like different victory levels, right? The basic. So here are the basic mechanics of a diplomacy challenge, loyal viewers. You have to get. It's like skill challenges in fourth edition. You have to get 9 successes before you get 3 failures. Is like a perfect diplomacy challenge. And for every 3 successes you get 1 extra tier up of rewards. The difference is with this one is that the different tier ups are less like a strict upgrade of one another and more an extra option, right? So if you get to 9, right? If you get to 9 successes with Kex'ti, it will give you basically 3. He will have 3 options for the relationship that you guys are going to forge with Kex'ti in the future, and you can choose the one you like the most. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Also, as a reminder, the 3 social skills. Bluff, Diplomacy, Intimidate. He is favorable towards one of them, which is the easiest DC to make. He is unfavorable to another, which is the hardest DC to make. He has 3, I can't remember what I call them, like hidden skill, receptive skills, right? Which are just random skill checks that are specific to him, that will grant his success with a much lower DC. So you should look for those or try and find those if you can.
We can defect those with a sense of motive, correct?
Right, you can roll a sense motive check to figure out what his receptive skills are and to figure out what his favorables and unfavorables are. But if you fail, it counts as a failure, and if you succeed, it doesn't count as a success. I think it's basically all the rules, right?
I believe so.
Also, there are circumstance bonuses, and it gets harder if one person keeps talking over and over. Or no, it's different than that. It's there's different circumstance bonuses, and for the first roll that everyone makes in the challenge, they get a bonus to that, which I think is +4.
All right. I believe I will open this discussion.
Also, the last thing I want to say, I'm sorry. The last thing I want to say, by going out of your way to bring him wine and cheese, you've earned one. You have earned 1 success already.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
I look at Kex'ti and I say, as you know, my name is Beauregard. These are my associates, Alaric, Racox, Weirin, and Alaric, Cox, Weirin, and Marikrug, of course. That's this big one over here. And we are called the Silver Ravens.
I know.
God, I nod.
I say,
He
heard under us by a different name.
I'd say.
another name that's really stupid. That's really fucking bad. That name is garbage. By the way,
What I'm afraid is that soon we will be known as the Dead Crows.
Oh boy.
As such, I'm sure you understand, having been in this position, what the effects of your rebellion is having on ours, and I, of course, would like to have a talk about aligning our mutual interests, Sanctuary and the Silver Ravens. Can I use that to go for a sense motive to kind of like gauge his reaction to all that?
Sure.
All right, you roll that, right?
Yes, that's true. I do roll that.
You're including my inspiration die on it, right?
Failure?
I will. Yeah, I have that in my macro, I believe.
Okay.
I don't have that in my macro, but you rolled a nat 20, so good job.
Yay.
You successfully learn. He is. So Kex'ti is prone to flattery and especially prone to being browbeaten with his own failings. He doesn't like to confront his failures. He will not, however, respond very well to super detailed in the weeds arguments. Kex'ti is something of a thrill seeker and doesn't have the patience for a true debate. His easiest DC is Intimidate, then it's Bluff at a normal check, and then it is Diplomacy at his hardest. His 3 receptive skills are Profession Chef, Cook, anything about cooking, eating. Kex'ti holds all of his meetings over meals and is particularly prone to finding someone or their agenda agreeable if they can send their detailed compliments to the chef. He has an athletics receptive skill. As a monk from a very disciplined Underdark monastery, Kex'ti appreciates that with a sound body comes a worthy spirit. People who can demonstrate their intense physicality will earn his respect. And the last one is knowledge dungeoneering. As a child of the Underdark, Kex'ti is well acquainted with creatures of the Underdark and loves to be regaled by tales of heroism fighting them. Creatures of the Underdark that you have fought include the Grick, the Odiug, and anything you might want to write into your backstory.
All right. Does that count as my first attempt?
Yes.
Okay, so my +2 is
But we
gone.
don't get a success, but we don't get a failure.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
we got
god.
that cool info. Why are we laughing?
I just read the chat.
Yeah.
I just welcome to the chat, ConCon13. Anyway, so that was your sense motive.
So
What's next? What do you guys want to do next?
what was the name of the rebellion? What were his other 2 failures?
It was
He
the Dead Crow was they went too early.
No,
Yeah.
the Dead
So
Crows
the
that they got swallowed up.
So the first one was the travel hub, right? It was, the one where he just kind of happened to fall into it in his first home, that just got completely wrecked by taking to the streets too early. And then the third one was when he got betrayed by his lieutenant.
Okay. So I've got an initial argument, unless anybody else wants to jump in.
I would say save. The only one of these skills that I am any good at is intimidate, because I can use my int to intimidate.
Okay.
So save intimidate for.
Well, we could use intimidate as many times as we want, right? It's only the special ones that we can only use one of, right?
That is correct. Yep, that is correct. You can use intimidate as many times as you want.
Excellent. Sorry, viewers, it has been a very long time. In fact, since like maybe the 3rd session.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of background, I added these special rules because this is a very political, intriguey kind of game, and the first 2 sessions I had like 2 of them planned out all the way through the first book, and the first 2 sessions were the diplomacy challenges, right? And you guys actually skipped a diplomacy challenge in book 2. Fun fact. But this is the other diplomacy challenge.
Fantastic. I also put details, I think, in one of the panels. A link to the rules for the diplomacy challenge. Anyway, I think I will lead off, and I will say, Mr. Dandela, you are a professional revolutionary, and I know that you have had many exploits, but this is our hometown, and I'm concerned that a failing like you in your hometown had many years ago will lead us to the same type of ruin that you brought upon yourself. And so you can understand my, how should I put this? My hesitation to trust someone such as yourself, an outsider, with the delicate process of this revolution. I intend for that to be an intimidate.
Sounds good. That's a success. He says, well, I have to say that you're not the first person to throw my failures back in my face, but I definitely understand where you're coming from. I'm the first to admit that I'm not always on the right side of history, but one of the benefits to making a career out of these rebellions, he says with a smirk, one of the benefits to making a career out of these rebellions is that when I fail, I get to try again. But I don't get the sense from you that you're looking to try again if you fail.
Does anybody else wanna?
If try again, I don't think you understand. Most of us here, if we fail, we die.
Those stakes are pretty high. Yeah, you could roll for that.
Okay. I guess I'm
it's either a diplomacy or an intimidate. That's not really a bluff.
Yeah. I guess it's intimidate because I'd be pissed off at the notion.
Sounds good to me. That is also a success. He says, well, fair enough. Well, here is my I give this offer to most rebellions that walk in that door. I can absorb the Silver Ravens into Sanctuary. You can become part of my rebellion. I will allow you as much autonomy over your followers and your agents as I can possibly allow. I've never been much of a micromanager. But I would warn you that if you choose to reject, your other option would be to be destroyed. I've seen this happen before, and though it may seem like we have a common enemy, we do not. We are competitors, attempting to reach a finish line first, and I know how dangerous it can be if you and I split the resources of the city between the two of us. That's your first level of victory. You can choose to just get absorbed into Sanctuary.
I lean over to Rakax and I say, "This might be a good time to impress him with your martial prowess. You can show that we are strong and not easily pushed around."
Feel like Worf.
With an athletics check. Rakax. Rakax.
Rakax.
Oh,
Why is Rakax muted? Oh, I've been
sorry.
eating.
Sorry. Kex'ti, dollar. Kex'ti, dollar. You puny little fighter monk. Do you think that we will back down? Do you think that your 6 attempts at fighting your puny little Underdark rebellion makes you worthy of Buzz Lightyear Thrune? Have you heard of the saying, "The enemy of my enemy, they die second"? Well, it looks like they will be dying first if you seem to think that we will be crushed.
Wait,
Is that an intimidate? Are you trying to make that into an athletics check or an intimidate check?
I'm trying to make it to an athletics check so that
All right,
what-
you
you
have
do
to
something
you have to
athletic.
you have to pair that with a feat of your athletics.
Like,
Oh,
jump
never mind. I'm just
up
gonna
on the
intimidate him.
table and
I'm
smash
just
something.
gonna intimidate him.
Okay, that's fine.
You have ranks in Intimidate, right?
Yeah, max ranks.
Okay.
Hey, well, easy peasy. That is another success, man. You guys are ripping through these successes. You're at 4. This is your 4th
Well, I'm
success in
gonna
a row.
rip through him soon.
I just say, I lean over to Rakax and say, "Well done. Not what I was expecting."
I give him a nod. I give him a fist bump.
Weirin, maybe
He
you
says-
can impress him with a feat of strength.
one of these days.
You're in?
Yeah, we're good. Hello? Weirin?
Hello?
Weirin?
We're in? Did you hear something? Did we lose him? Is he in Mumble?
He's in Mumble.
He's in Mumble. I mean, he was complaining earlier about his internet, though, so I'm not sure if he.
I say, Weirin appears
No.
to have. What?
I thought.
Did you hear
almost
something?
said something.
Anyway, Weirin appears to have drank a little too much wine at the moment. Marigrug maybe, essentially, it's either you or Cox at this point.
Yeah, no. I'm just gonna. Well, let's be serious here. I'm gonna pop Blood Rage. Let's be real.
Okay, because we have so many loyal viewers who are super loyal, do you want to describe for them the effects of your Blood Rage, because it has super crazy cool effects?
So, obviously, normally Blood Rage just makes you pretty good at what you do, but the special thing about Marigrug is that his Blood Rage is connected to the scarified tattoos all across his body, which when he activates his Blood Rage just pulse with a dark, void-like essence because of his, umbral dragon draconic blood, which maybe none of you know about in the first place.
It also makes his voice modulate and vibrate.
Yes, it's happening
It
right
also
now.
turns his fingers into big old shadow claws. What else does it do? I guess that's it for now.
Yeah, no, that's right now. Except there's also the special breath, but
Yeah.
that's later.
Yeah, just because
A Windows Beast
I
left
invented
channel
this
and
and I think it's
disconnected.
super cool. If Maragrug hits the same target with both of his claw attacks, right? If he goes claw and hits him, he gets to make a free breath attack where he breathes out all of this negative energy damage on someone's face. Because I think that's fucking baller.
Think
Anyway,
Godzilla.
make your
that monster.
athletics check.
A Windows Beast moved
Okay,
in from Verb Speak by the server.
I'm like just like fed up with this. Like I pop my blood rage because fuck this elf. And then I'm making an athletics check. What? Or
Yeah,
strength check?
this is an athletics check.
Okay. So. Okay. So I guess I just use strength. Okay.
Oh, do you not have points in athletics?
Well, no, I mean I do. I just I still have all that stuff separated.
Oh, okay.
Too late now. You gotta go. Oh well, if it's all separated, that's fine.
Yeah.
A Windows
But my
Beast
point is, you've
left
already made the
channel
check.
and disconnected.
Oh. Okay, but I didn't pull anything.
Are you getting an error?
Yeah, I didn't get. I accidentally did the wrong thing. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay. I understand how wacky these sheets can be.
Yeah, we're gonna use something that has strength. Let's do it.
That's basically
me.
that's basically the same. Unfortunately, as impressed as he is with your physique, and you can see him kind of raise an eyebrow. He says, "This is interesting.
In from Verb Speak by the server.
The tattoos that run across my body are a mark of my discipline and my ability to tolerate pain and suffering, which are two very drow traits. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as though you're quite as disciplined as I am," he says, and that's one failure. So you guys are at 4 successes, 1 failure, is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's next? What's next? Where are you back?
We're in?
I bet he fell asleep at his desk again.
Does that happen? Poor guy.
It happened once before. It happened a couple of months ago. I think at this point. Anyways. So who's next?
Can you make the dungeoneering check?
I could say now I've been saying. Can you give me inspiration on this? Just curious.
I can not. I had a quiet word with Rakox and
I mean, I have.
not
I
Rakox,
only,
with Weirin
I
and
only
Nergrick.
have +9, which ain't nothing. In fact, I'm really kind of. Okay, I get it. Anyways, I can say now. I don't know how much you've heard about me. In your short time in this, and I sort of look around, fair city, but I take a great interest in all elvenkind, including our kin in the Underdark. Particularly impressed to learn more of the architecture and fine works of your people as they have delved deeper and deeper into the depths of the world. I understand that sometimes your methods may be, or sometimes the governments may be somewhat distasteful, but really it is quite astonishing what you're able to accomplish in such harsh environments. That. Ooh.
I don't see anything.
Oh,
dungeoneering.
27.
That's a success. He says, interesting. Typically, I hear about the different the different exploits in the sewers and caves in the world. And if you fought one Greek, you fought them all. But I didn't know that there were those of you on the surface world who took such a fascination in my homeland. I have to confess that I don't hold it in very high regard, but the nostalgia hits me nonetheless. It's 5 successes, 1 more for your next tier, your next upgrade.
I look at him and I say, of course, we aren't coming here just to poo-poo you. We also know you've had many successes, in your previous, endeavors, in different places, and you've employed a variety of different methods. And I do feel that a collaboration between the two of us, would be the best thing, with your experience and our local resources. I am the son of a noble, or I am of noble blood. We have a complicated situation in that, but we have lots of local resources, combined with your excellent and storied past. I think we'd be a force to be reckoned with together. I intend for that to be a bluff.
Okay.
Like buttering him up, as you said,
Yeah.
he was
Yep.
vulnerable to.
Definitely that. And you're definitely good on that. Okay, so you've reached your second tier. He laughs, drinking some of the wine that you guys brought. He fills that shit up in a big ass wine glass. So he's just chugging it down. And he says, "You know what? I like." Would have been clever. I like the way that you put that, and I think you're right. I think it is better for us to consolidate and work together. Please understand, the competition that I feel with other rebellions is solely a matter of resources. I find that the best way to, overthrow governments is to appeal to the base, right? Appeal to the common folk, because they are most likely to be the most dissatisfied. But it is something I have not done to try and tap the nobles, and I am very unfamiliar with how the politics of the nobles in this city would factor into any potential rebellion. So I think that is a good place where you would be able to accentuate ours. So let me propose this in another way. Why don't the Ravens become a vassalage of ours? Sanctuary is bigger, and we are already public, so we have those benefits. But this would allow the Silver Ravens to keep their low profile, but continue to grow with my assistance. As long as you keep your efforts secret and underground, we will not be in contact. I'm gonna do this in out-of-game terms because it's fucking easier. Basically what he's offering here is that the Ravens become kind of as Hedman Hayes is to you guys, wherein he would become your benefactor, right? He would actively fund the organization. Additionally, the organization will gain a number of followers per week as he kind of sends, goodwill your way, and the rebellion cap for your organization raises to 10, even though you haven't gone public. So if you would like to stay under the radar, right, but continue to grow the rebellion all the way up to 10, which is the next kind of cutoff before you have to unlock, before you can level it even higher, that would be the option that you take.
While that is a very compelling offer, I think that maybe we shouldn't beat around the bush here. There's a certain problem with a public rebellion, a groundswell, as you might put it, in that it could backfire very easily. And with your parading around, you could very well lead to becoming a martyr of exactly the kind of thing that Barzillai says he's here to prevent. I'm sure that he can whip up all kinds of nastiness, be it true or not, about you, your doings, the past, etc. And while I quite frankly agree that that going public will become necessary, now is not the time, and you are being irresponsible to attempt such an action, or to flaunt your rebellion such as this.
All right, roll that.
What would that be? I was kind of trying to be, I guess, diplomacy or bluff.
It's a little. It's more diplomacy than bluff. It's a little on the line for intimidate, to be honest. But oh wow, solid. Well, that's a success. That is 7. So you're at 7 and 1 so far. He says, I think you're right. Bars Lythrin's a really dangerous foe. He's one of the more dangerous, although, to be honest with you, a lot of the times they're bumbling morons. But Bars Lythrin definitely has my number, and he has, completely devastated other rebellions that have cropped up. But I think Barzilai's strength is in targeting rebellions that are small. I was able to grow so large, in no small part because I was able to borrow supporters from the Ravens, that I think it's harder for him to kill me. On top of that, I come with a certain level of panache all on my own. People have heard
excellent stew.
Right, people have heard about Kex'ti Dalandala's exploits in the Underdark, and so I don't need to build myself up as the hero that I suspect you have been working on. But I take your point. I think Bars Lythrin definitely is incredibly dangerous, and I'm not going to pretend that I do not take his threats seriously.
Rick Cox or Maragug, you want to roll in with something? I think I've got something to close it out if either of you want to try and get the 8th.
You think you have the panache, huh? Well, I will show you panache. Wait, panache is gusto, right?
What'd you say? Sorry?
Panache, yeah, it's like gusto or
yeah.
suave.
Can I athletically show off how gusto I am?
How athletically show off your panache?
You could do it as part of an intimidate. I thought he's receptive to athletics, but you've already made the athletics.
Oh,
check.
Right. Okay. Right.
You failed
right.
it.
Right.
No, to be honest, I mean, you know what? I don't think I've ever written out rules for this, but maybe you could try it again because you failed the first time, right? Like Maragog failed the first one, right? It would make sense that you would be able to try it again. I didn't really think that through that iteration.
Oof, live system
So
development.
I'm gonna basically try I'm gonna basically try and charge through a table.
Oof.
That sounds. Why not jump on top of a table? That sounds something like Kex'ti.
I'm gonna. Oh! I got it. So, well, can your panache do this? And I will challenge the table.
Baby.
I will challenge the table and I will charge through. Should I do an attack roll or like athletics roll?
Do it as an athletics roll, but that's a good circumstance bonus for you.
I will challenge the table secretly.
Okay. Unfortunately, you fail. You challenge the table.
Even with like
swing
30 for.
It is pretty awesome. So I'm going to reverse that. You're right. I'll give you that success. Even though I kind of want to make that 7 and 2, just so you have to hit 2 in a row and the stakes. But with circumstance bonus, I'll give it to you. You challenge the table, raise your hands up, and smash them down, and literally crack it, right? Like crack this section of table in half. Right, so that there is nothing
on the table.
So that there's nothing between you and Kex'ti. He jumps back and gets into, like a crazy monk stance, kind of thing. And then after a second, after realizing that his reflexes came into, he lets out a hearty chuckle and says, "That was unimpressive, or that was unexpected, but quite impressive." It seems as though these Leonin that I've been learning about are just as fierce and strong as I would have expected. Well done. Bravo.
And in an attempt to bring it home, I walk through the destroyed table and put my arm around Kex'ti and I say, so, Mr. Dalandala, I think a better course of action would be for you to join the Silver Ravens. Think about it. Think about the famous Kex'ti Dalandala as a member of the historic Silver Ravens. One famous revolutionary group coming together in a tale that will surely be told throughout all of time and history. You have a chance to be part of something greater, historic, amazing. I suggest you become part of our inner council and lead this rebellion with us. And I will roll that as a bluff.
Hoy hoy!
Hoy hoy!
Ahoy!
Okay, that's a success. So that's your ninth
Fat
success.
successes.
He says, all right. You have charmed me well enough. Clearly, you are my type of folk and my type of revolution. And so here is my third offer for how we work together. I know that you've been busy outside of the city. We've all heard about the resurrection of Tonrik Bauer and the fact that Tonrik Bauer is running across the countryside with his Honorborn, drumming up support for the Silver Ravens to take back the city. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time or the opportunity. To be honest with you, the Underdark cities are very confined and they are very isolated, and there really is no such thing as a town or a village or a countryside for people to flock to. So I am so inexperienced in that aspect of the rebellion. So here's what I propose. We form an alliance now. I will continue to grow Sanctuary inside the city. You will continue to grow the Silver Ravens. But once you have your current living situation settled, because I know that you're in that grody bar that I've not very many of your supporters enjoy.
And say, yeah, this is what you get when you just tell everyone where we are.
Well, I mean, he has your supporters in his organization, right? Like, obviously, he knows this stuff.
Ulrich is still nonplussed that people know where we live.
Fair enough. And he says,
no
look,
one knows where I live.
you obviously need to get into a more permanent home, and I think I have just the spot for you, right? So if you want to enter this into this alliance, I'll give you the information. I'll give you the place that I know that you can house your rebellion, right? You can set up shop there, and then you can take to the countryside and drum up all of the support that you possibly can. Return to the cities. We join forces under the Silver Raven's name because I think you're right. It does have a powerful force of history behind it, and we will take back the city from Barzillai Thrune. How does that sound?
Looking around to make sure that there's no obvious objection on people's faces, I say that sounds like an amenable plan to me. We do have some business we need to finish in the city. Beyond moving ourselves, there is some matters that need our immediate attention. But I do think that these are terms that I can work with. Do you all agree? As I motion to my compatriots.
Aye.
A nod.
You are not transmitting, Alaric.
We shouldn't tell anyone about this new hideout, but otherwise, sure.
Okay.
Okay. He says, fair enough. I think this alliance is a good idea. He grasps, he puts out his hand, right, to seal the deal.
I put my hand out as well, and I.
Okay, he grasps your hand and he pulls you into a kiss.
Being a master negotiator, I lean into it.
He says, "Ooh la la." Anyway, he says, "Good, great. That sounds That sounds fantastic. I do want to warn you, though, that I did neglect to mention that this new hideout of yours, which I fully recommend that you do take me up on and set yourselves up in, is otherwise occupied at the moment.
Oh, by who?
It is the base of the Coven of Lilith in the city.
Oh, well,
The-
I
the-
find that eliminating those forces would align with our aims very nicely.
He says, I also understand that you're tracking this serial killer, is that correct?
We are indeed.
I wish you the best of luck.
The smug look on Beauregard's face right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, okay, well, I wish you the best of luck. I think that's a very worthwhile endeavor. The location in question is an old gambling hall known as the Lucky Bones. It was suggested to me, but to be quite honest with you, I'm much more comfortable in a place like this, with food like that, and wine like this. And he drinks some of your wine. And he says, but the Lucky Bones will make a great place, especially for an organization that is looking to be fortified and defended and stay below ground. You guys can roll a knowledge history check to know more about the Lucky Bones.
That
Lucky Bones.
So that blue book would definitely work. That's 22.
Yeah. I mean, Alaric definitely has that with you. The Lucky Bones is an old gambling hall in the city, and it was run for a long time by the big rival gang to Gondor's gang, right? It took a while for Gondor to kind of get the monopoly that he ended up getting in the city with his criminal
I thought Gondor
organization.
was running books.
He was, right, but he was also it's a little complicated. Mostly what Gondor was doing as far as crime goes was making copies of contraband literature, right, and selling it to nobles because it's a really prestigious thing for them to have in their libraries. That's a crime in Kintargo, so that kind of is a crime thing. The big rival crime guild to him were the Grey Spiders. They were around for a very long time, about 30 years, before kind of the combined effort of Gondor and Baron Rogar working together essentially to where Gondor would feed, Baron all this information about where these guys are and what they're doing, kind of thing. The Grey Spiders eventually got cleared all the way out, but the place is full of, booby traps and everything else, and so it just kind of got sealed up instead of actually dealt with. And so it has kind of been abandoned for a number of years. The thing that you will need to do in order to gain access to the Lucky Bones is find a key to it. The key were with the Grey Spider members that eventually, died out, and it's almost kind of something of an urban legend, right? That keys to the Lucky Bones, right? And you're going to go in and you're going to brave all the traps. You're going to avoid all these Grey Spider ghosts, right? And everything, and you're going to be able to get to the hidden caches of Grey Spider loot at the bottom of the dungeon. That's at least the kind of urban legend. So you'll need to find a key in order to get into the gambling hall in the first place, and then you'll have to clear it out of the cult of Lilith, or the Coven of Lilith, which apparently, populate that bad boy. In case you couldn't tell, that's the mega dungeon at the end of the book, which comes after you guys deal with Cassius and deal with the serial killer.
Awesome.
Which, by the way, we should probably start looking into the future to plan for. But
Are we done with tonight?
Otherwise, yes. So the other thing that happened, Beauregard, you get your next bonus feat. Just remind me, your next bonus feat is unlocked because you succeeded in a diplomacy challenge. And Alaric, yours is also unlocked. So remind me next time. So the two of you have bonus feats to finish out. But otherwise, we're done.
All right.
For tonight.
Good job.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Hope Weirin's all right.
Yeah, I do hope Rin is all right. I swear to God, he must have fallen asleep at his computer. Thank you, loyal viewers.
We stream this game every Wednesday. And
We
you
do
guys
stream this game every
other
Wednesday.
games.
We also stream Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is another game that is not run by me. That is run by the actual, whatever.
Run by the actual Kex'ti.
By the actual Kex'ti.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you guys could stream your lovely World of Warcraft adventures with the actual sanctuary if you.
That's true. We could do that. Not that I think we have. What else? Do we stream anything else? When we do our Civ game, we should stream that too.
Yeah, but we haven't streamed anything else. It's all been D&D on this channel.
Do you get did you get Civ 6, Chuckler?
I have not. I probably should.
Yeah, we should figure out. We should like set aside like a Saturday or something.
But anyway,
right. This is not. Thank you for tuning in. Follow the channel, like, subscribe. We have a podcast too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that Mr. Bot Rob Lowe is upset that he has missed the whole thing. I will export this to YouTube, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel.
Oh shit! Right, I forgot we have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad at this.
It's all in one of the info panel at the bottom of the screen. So I guess until next time, dear viewers.
Yeah. Until next time.